All right, everybody, let's get to our dowsing content today. We just did our energy exchange video where we found out that the energy we would all benefit from releasing was the energy of yearning. And then the new energy we could call in the place of that yearning was caring. And immediately I was just like, oh yeah, great, that makes sense. It's like, so go from this place of I want, I need, I yearn, to just like, yeah, I can care about that. I don't have to remove it completely from my life. I don't have to pretend it doesn't exist. I don't have to escape it or ignore it, but I can shift from the energy of yearn to the energy of I can just care about that. And I really like that too, because you can care about something and allow it to keep its distance. You can care about something without being attached to it. Whereas if you're yearning for something, you're insisting upon this closeness, this attachment. And for a lot of us, the charts are saying that's not in our highest good right now, and that energy of yearning is actually probably blocking us or keeping us stuck in unhealthy mental patterns or unhealthy body programs, as it may be. And you know, that energy of yearning can be really distracting. I have had that experience before. I think we all, if you are a human, you've experienced yearning of some kind or another. It's extremely distracting. If you are trying to get your work done for the day, but you're in the energy of yearning, your brain is somewhere else and your body is somewhere else. And then it's like, well, which is feeding which comes first, the body yearning or the mind yearning? Who is feeding who? And chances are it's this, this loop, this cycle that we talk about all the time in the work that I'm doing here, which is called spiritual response techniques. So we're going to get started looking at the root. This is how we start all of our clearings. We say, what is the root of this yearning? Can we find something out about this yearning? Like, it's not just about this thing that I want and I'm deeply desiring. It's actually something else inside of me that maybe is untouched or, has been triggered or is feeling unfulfilled. And I'm yearning for this thing because of this other underlying piece, this subconscious piece or this unconscious piece, whatever the case may be. So that's what we're going to look at today. Asking our first question, we go to our GPS chart. I've been talking about that lately, calling this my chart one is my GPS. This tells me where I need to go next. And so immediately right out of the gate, it said, let's go to the chart that talks about our inner, not our inner archetypes, our other archetypes. So we're going to our other archetypes chart. And the first thing it's going to show us is we've got some low self-esteem issues going on. If you've watched my clearings, you know low self-esteem comes up all the time. When we are not feeling self-esteem, when we're not feeling good about ourselves, the core of who we are, that fuels and motivates so many unhealthy patterns, behaviors, thought processes. So this is saying part of that yearning is actually a lack of self-esteem. And oftentimes a lack of self-esteem is due to a lack of this feeling or this sense that you are whole as you are, that you don't need anything else to complete you. You don't need anything else to fulfill you, that just you as a self, as this container of awareness that gets to experience all of the world through all of our senses, that somehow that's not enough for you. And so let's dive into this a little bit further. Is there some sort of benefit to us in having this low self-esteem? No, there's no benefit at all. And I ask that question because sometimes negative motivations like low self-esteem can have a weird benefit. And I know benefit sounds weird because in most of the English language, benefit would indicate something positive, like an add-on, like I have these benefits that I get at work, like my health insurance. It's this positive thing. And yet in SRT, just because we get a benefit out of something doesn't always mean it's good for us. It can be a negative motivation. It could be, I don't know if you've ever heard of positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement, but it's sort of something like that potentially. It could be like you're getting reinforced, so it feels like it's a benefit, but it's actually a negative reinforcer. Or again, yeah, and I don't even know that I'm using that analogy perfectly, but it's in that theme. So let's look at this and say, so if there is no benefit to us, What do we need to do to release ourselves from this low self-esteem and to open our eyes, our mind, our awareness to the truth of our own wholeness, the truth of our own value? So what is blocking us to seeing our own value? What is a thing? Is this 6E or 5? So 6E. I don't know if you've ever noticed when I ask those either or questions, it's almost always the first one, because that is the first one that I see. So that's the first one I call out, but I'm just confirming because I always want to get it right. Oh, so fascinating. We're blocked to perceiving others accurately. Oh my God, I love this. So we're blocked to seeing ourselves accurately. And so are we seeing yes or no? Are we seeing others as better than us? Yeah, that's a yes, right? Do you see my pendulum going back and forth? So we're not seeing others clearly. We see others as better than us. We see others as the thing that will complete us. We see others as the thing that will create in us a sense of wholeness, or we're doing this comparison thing. Well, if I look at them, they seem better and whole and happy and complete and of higher value because they have all these things that I don't have, and these are all the things I'm yearning for. So this sense of yearning is coming from low self-esteem. So then we ask, what's the cause of the low self-esteem, or what's blocking us from having high self-esteem? Oh, it's our poor perception of others. We think others have it better than us, or we think that others will complete us. So then we just ask, what can we do to release ourselves from this lie? Because frankly, that's what it is. It's a lie. It's an outdated belief. It is a misplaced belief. It's a misunderstanding. It's a misalignment between what we believe and what the truth actually is. So how do we get clear on our own value and on our perception of other people? So is this 4 or is this 19? That's 19. And again, that's what I thought it was, but that time I kind of reversed my order. Okay, so what can we do to get clear about our misperceptions of other people? And that imagining, it's like, not imagining, but like the image. So we've created this image in our mind, and this image is off, but that image is the library that our mind uses as a reference. So all of us are data centers. Okay, every single one of us are data centers. And from the moment you are born, you are collecting data. We are the ultimate data centers. And it's part of why we're so powerful, and it's part of why we're so amazing. It's part of why, it's hard to fully grasp and understand the magnitude of human awareness, human consciousness, and the power of the human brain. We tap into so little of the power of the human brain, but the human brain holds, and maybe it's not even the brain. The brain is just the radio station that allows us to dial into those data channels. Okay, and so many of us, our brain is stuck on one channel. But there's so many other channels that our brain could tap into. And so right now, we're just going to use the power of our mind to say, I open myself up to all of the data that exists inside my consciousness, my subconscious, and my unconscious data centers. I allow myself to broaden my perspective of what is wholeness, what is completeness, and what is value. I allow myself to broaden my mind, my understanding, and the huge library of images and information that is going to feed me and tell me what my worth is as a person. Because if you are basing your worth off of this tiny little data point, and especially if that tiny little data point is off, it's broken, it is, stuck back at, something happened at some point and it was really affirming for you, right? Maybe you had an experience at some point that affirmed this belief that you are not enough and other people are better, or that your life is incomplete and other people's lives are whole. And at some point, for some reason, you downloaded this as the data point that you would use to measure yourself and your life. And so what we're asking for is for that data point to be expanded. We're just exhaling and allowing ourselves to really be like, okay, what if what Kate is saying right here is right? Okay, what if I go with what Kate is saying here, which is, I know that I have access to much more information than that one data point. And I allow my conscious mind to now, enter into that library of information so that I can have real and accurate measurement standards. It's like trying to believe in a scientific study where they only did the study on 5 people. That you're not going to get a lot of good information if you only do one experiment on 5 people. But if you do an experiment on 5,000 people, oh my goodness, you're going to start seeing a lot more truth come out in the patterns, right? There's going to be patterns that then reveal themselves. And inside of those patterns is more truth, more of the facts. But again, you have been basing your worth and your value on a very small metric and a very small sample size. So I open my mind now to the full data, all of the information that has ever existed about human worth in general. Not just my own human worth, but human worth in general. Help me understand that it is so much broader than what we think it is. So many of us base our worth, at least in the culture and the society that I live in here in this country, on, the amount of money you have. Are you partnered? Do you have children? What is your title at work? What have you accumulated? And even as I just said those 5 things, I felt this heaviness and this weight on me, because those are all these responsibilities and these pressures. And there's so many factors that influence your ability to gain those 5 things, but we don't consider those influences and those factors. We don't consider what physical body you were given and the challenges you may have. We don't consider family history. We don't consider, all these other things that are true influences on our ability to gain those 5 things. However, if we shifted our mind to using a different set of standards, like how good are you at treating other people kindly? How good are you at being dependable? How good are you at telling the truth? How good are you at taking care of the vulnerable and the innocent? How good are you at standing up for what you believe in? If we use those as our metrics, everything would change, everything would shift. And I really do think a lot more of us would recognize and realize that we are beautiful, powerful beings that don't need to be yearning for anything outside of ourselves. We would just be able to care about the world we live in, going back to our energy exchanges, that we wouldn't have to be in a state of yearning for something else. And that's beautiful. And I think I want to take a moment to highlight that, which is our energy exchange today didn't ask us to be apathetic. It didn't say, oh, get rid of yearning and just be totally neutral and apathetic. No, I think it's beautiful to care. We need to care. Caring is a part of liking life and enjoying being here. And we don't want to go from, oh, I don't want to yearn anymore to, oh, I'm just kind of, apathetic. So it's beautiful. And I just want to highlight that, Spirit is telling us, we are allowed to care about things. We should care about things. We just don't need to yearn for things outside of ourselves to feel good about ourselves, or to feel like we measure up, or to feel like we are acceptable, or to feel like we're understood. That's another big one. I would say for me, that's something that I really yearn for, is to be understood. And so, that's also something, it's like I can care about being understood, but can I let go of my yearning to be understood? Okay, so is there anything else you want me to look at related to the yearning? No. Is there anything you want me to look at related to the caring, being able to care about life again? What percent are we open to caring about things? We're 100% open. What percent are we blocked to caring about those things? We're blocked. So there's some blocks here we want to look at. So what are the blocks to us just being able to shift into the energy of caring about things out of this yearning? So I'm seeing chart 12. What's going on here on chart 12? Ooh, let's see. That's interesting. Codependency. Oh, this is so interesting. Codependency of spirit on God is what this is called. And in my mind, I translate this to mean it's almost like, oh, well, if I believe in spirit, then that inherently means I have to believe in God. And I can't have a spiritual life if it's not religious. And I'm going to push away all things spiritual because I have trauma and wounds around God and religion and dogma. And so, you know, and if you're in a separate SRT session with me and we get that petal, it might mean something else, because that's the beautiful thing. This is like tarot. You get the meaning of the card, but you apply that meaning differently depending on the person that's sitting in front of you. And for this collective, as it relates to this energy of what's blocking us to caring about life, we don't feel like we can have a spiritual life. We feel like if we have a spiritual life, we'll be codependent on, it must be dependent upon, it has to coexist with religion, God, and dogma. And so for many of us, we are yearning for other things outside of ourselves. We're yearning for something else. We're yearning to feel whole and complete because we don't have a spiritual life. We don't feel safe having a spiritual life. And so this is saying, release yourself now from that tie. Release yourself from being shackled to the idea that spirituality can't exist separate from God, dogma, and religion. I am a testament to the fact that spirituality can exist without God, dogma, and religion. I am the most spiritual I have ever been, but I don't have a dynamic anymore that includes church, religion, God, any of that. And again, I feel also more connected to spirit, to nature, to energy than I ever have in my life. You know, and back when I did believe deeply in dogma and God, that is when I felt most blocked to spirit. And right now, again, just to tie it back to this clearing, we're yearning for things outside of ourselves. And we haven't been able to be in the energy of caring about our life and caring about ourselves as whole people because we've been blocked to our spirit. We've been very much in our human nature. You know, you can't shift into this energy of like, I can care about the world, but not be of these worldly things. I can care and love people, care and love myself without yearning for more, yearning to be different, you know, yearning to be better or like other people, because I haven't been able to feel like a spirit. I haven't been able to feel like I am a soul that is filled with life force, which is spirit, inside of a human avatar. And that's what I believe we are. And when we recognize all three parts of us, you know, the Holy Trinity, the spirit, the life force that is inside of us, the soul that goes on forever and ever and ever and ever, and the human avatar, when we embrace all three of those things and integrate all three of those things, then we can care about life, care about ourselves, care about other people without this sense of yearning that is rooted in low self-esteem. When you are connected, when you have integrated spirit, soul, and body, the yearning goes away. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Is there anything else? So let's ask the percentage question again. What percent now that we've done this are we blocked to our caring? 50%. So I'm just going to ask, you know, Spirit, clear it, everything that is blocking all of us from integrating as the Holy Trinity that we all are. Clear out of the way any lies, misperceptions, misunderstanding, misalignments between fact and fiction. Open all of us up in our crown chakra and in our third eye to this truth and this understanding that we are the Holy Trinity, that we are divine, we are souls that have access to spirit, that get to animate these human forms. And now what else can we do to clear this 50% that is blocking us to our caring? So now we're going to go to chart 5. All right, what's on our chart 5 here today for us as it relates to any blocks to our caring? Is this anxiety or discarnates in the aura? Clear, educate, and release any discarnates in our aura. Okay, so our aura, right, is like our energy body. It is that life force piece I'm talking about, the spirit. And there are non-incarnated things in that aura. So let's find out, can we learn anything about those discarnated energies specifically? What exactly are the discarnated energies in our aura? What is that non-incarnated energy? Is this the energy of injustice? The energy of injustice, life is not fair. Life is unjust. Any other energies from this chart that are bogging down our aura? Hate of self, vengefulness, perversion. Vengefulness, hate of self, perversion. Those are all discarnates in our spirit body, in our energy body, in our auric field. Vengefulness, hate of life, perversion, not seeing things clearly, not being able to see and care about ourselves as this holy trinity, because those energies, and again, on the charts they call them discarnates, and that can sound kind of weird, but it's just something that is not incarnated. It's not in a human body. And that's why I asked, is it an energy? Is it an emotion? Is it something that is stuck there in your auric field that is blocking you from this recognition? And when we hate life, you know, and when we are in the energy of perversion, it is, to me, perversion is not understanding the truth of something, seeing something wrong. I am, you know, perverted in my understanding of this. And I know perversion usually carries a different kind of connotation, but for me right now in this clearing, I'm seeing it as I'm just not seeing things clearly. I have a perverted sense of what's real and what's not. And so those energies were asking to be cleared out now. And again, all of a sudden, I was just like, whew, release that, right? Like release that out of your physical body, soften your physical body and allow that to just melt out of you. I release myself from the energy of perversion. Give it a wiggle, give it a shake. I release myself from the hate of life that I've been carrying in my energetic body. And I release myself from all energies, thought forms, belief systems, patterns, habits that are blocking me from the truth of why I'm here and my ability to care about being here without yearning for something beyond what I carry, you know, inherently inside of myself. So now what percent, now that we've done that, and again, let's just keep softening and melting as we're finishing this. Now we are 0% blocked to our caring. Fantastic. Is there anything else, yes or no, you want me to look at for this clearing? Yes. What is something else you want me to look at for this clearing? Usually that's kind of the place where we would wrap this up, but I do try to ask a yes or no, like, are we done? Do you want me to keep moving on? And it said, no, we're not done. We want to keep looking at something else. So we're going to clear the rebuilding and the mirror images, the looping beyond looping. We release ourselves from the desire to repeat this over and over and over again. And you can say right now, no, I'm done. I'm done. I don't need to keep looping. I don't need to be stuck in this energetic vortex. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm over it. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to embrace myself as a divine being. I'm ready to have a spiritual life. I accept myself as a spiritual being. Take an exhale and say that one more time. I accept myself as a spiritual being. I accept that I can be a spiritual being without God, without dogma, and without the church. And if you want God in the church, that's okay too. You do you. If that feels good to you, then you should do that. I'm just saying you can be a spiritual being without doing that too. 6Bs. So now we're ready for our replacement energies. We're going to do 100% of 100% a mop up. We say that to just say out there into the universe, anything that needs to be cleared that didn't come up in my charts, we just clear it and release it now. Again, softening all of our bodies, kind of allowing anything that had been left over to melt away. So now we're going to get filled up with gratitude, We're being filled up with joy. We're being filled up with harmony. And that's it. Joy, gratitude, and harmony. Those are our replacement energies for today, friends. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Again, I've relaunched my website, www.thepointandstone.com. You can find me. You can find, a free dowsing chart generator that I just added to my website. You can book a one-to-one session with me. You can get linked up to my Etsy shop where I am selling pendulums. This is a new one that isn't on the shop yet, but this is Unakite Jasper. Oh, it just wants my face instead. Anyway, that's an Unakite Jasper pendulum. It'll be, actually, no, this one is up on my shop. I think I just posted this one last night. Okay. Thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks for watching. And we will see you next time on another episode of Clearing with Kate.